Hey everybody, Victor here. Let's go ahead and get started with the guide for Ardabil. Before I get started though, I do want to apologize. Yes, I know I have been a little slow in getting these guides out. The reason why is because I built a Discord server and I was arguing with Discord bots. I finally got them to stop arguing with me, so the server's up and running. There's a link in the description. You can go ahead and find me on there to tell me what you want me to do, what nations you want to talk about, or if you need any help with a game. So, I'll see you guys on there. Or if you just want to chill or have multiplayer games, that's probably where you'll find me. So let's go ahead and get started. Ardabil is the historical location, or the historical people that ended up unifying Persia in the modern era, and what that eventually became modern-day Iran. It is the Safavid Dynasty, where your tag is the only one that has it. That means it's on you to form the historical nation of Persia. Obviously, the little engine that could over here really has a lot of work cut out for it. Because if you look around you, you have the Timurids, Ajam, Qara Qoyunlu, Ottomans, Mamluks, all the guys up here that are all going to try and stop you. And you're one province that doesn't even have 10 dev in it. So yeah, you have a ways to go. First things first, you're going to start off with a merchant that is not assigned anywhere. Assign him to Basra. It'll give you just enough trade power there to have 0.01 ducats worth of income. The thing is that you can't really reach anywhere else. And it's better to have some money coming in than no money coming in. So, you might as well. Next, I'm going to talk about estates. So, this is what I have for my estates. And I would recommend you do the same. You can choose to go with a lot of things, but I'm going to explain to you why you don't go with them. So, you leave the one Emir open here, because if you can get 2 vassals somehow, it's nice to be able to do strong duchies. As far as the merchant guilds, don't do the indebted to the merchant guilds yet. Your loans are only 5 ducats, and you're not going to need them for the first couple of years. You're not actually going to have much of an army, nor are you really going to be expanding. So having them now when you don't have any real economy behind you is not going to help. Wait until you have other provinces behind you and use them to pay off the other loans you end up taking. Next, we're talking about the ulema. Now, I see a lot of guides out there that say, hey, take expansion as zealotry. It's great, right? You get a morale boost if you're at war with anybody that's not your religion. The problem is they all expect you to go to war with Beapus. And they show you all the time that Beapus is the target. They're not your first target. You might get lucky and they can be your first target, which balances that out. And then at that point, you can then grant that. However, your most likely early targets are going to be Shirvan, who is Shia just like you, or Mazandran, who is going to be their ally, who is also Shia. Meaning that if you take it now, you're losing 5% morale of armies for nothing. Absolutely nothing. So just wait until you get through that war, because after that you will have other opportunities to expand and get that to move forward. So the next part I want to talk about, this is really a big chunk of it, is the diplomacy. Ajam here, they're always going to hate you. They will always be hostile to you. They're going to want your land every single time. You will never convince them not to, because they are a different religion and you're a heretic religion, and their religious school hates you. So no matter what you do, they are going to be an enemy. However, Qara Qoyunlu here, they might not be. There are 3 opinion statuses that they might be when you start the game. There is the first one, which is neutral. This is, they might want your land, however, instead of it being a vital interest to them, it is yellow. It is a strategic interest, which means they will royal marry you on day 1. And if they royal marry you, they're not going to attack you. They might become hostile, but not really likely, and they're not going to take the stability hit to either break the royal marriage or attack you. Meaning you are pretty much safe, you can get them as an ally, and if you get them as an ally, you can use them to punch Ajam to get your land back, because they also really want Ajam's land. They are, in fact, usually going to be rival to them. Not always, but usually. So, if you end up starting the game, and they are neutral, congratulations! Go ahead and ally them. However, before you do so, be sure to consult with your doctor and make sure free real estate is right for you. The next one is domineering, and domineering and hostile are both kind of the same. They will usually go from hostile to domineering, depending on how the game goes, on whether or not they think of you as an easy target. but both of them have the same relative effect. If you get your opinion with them, of their opinion of you, which is this top number, over 100, they will flip friendly. The reason why is once you hit 100, they will take a stability hit to attack you. So instead of looking at you as easy prey or as a target, they will instead look at you as a potential ally because it's not worth taking a stability hit to get your land. That is honestly how they're saying. So your job and your goal is to get this over 100 as fast as possible. The reason why is because, one, that will let you expand everywhere you need to, but also, realistically, give you that ally where you can go after Ajam for your land, and between the two of them, Qara Qoyunlu should wipe the floor with Ajam, and you throw the tip in the balance that's on those scales. One-on-one, Ajam tends to lose. Every so often they get lucky, though. So, realistically, you start the game and you improve relations with Qara Qoyunlu. Before you unpause, though, be sure to go back into trade and go here and go to establish communities. This will improve the rate in which you get opinion with Qara Qoyunlu, and the faster you get this opinion, the better it is for you. Simply put, if you can get yourself to 100 soon enough before they attack you, you don't have to wait. If they attack you, it's not the end of the world. I will explain that if it ends up coming up. If it does not, I will still explain it to you. I just won't have the visual aid of showing it to you. I just want to wait to see if that happens. The other thing I will point out is that you then start spying on Shirvan. You do not need a diplomat open, not until the first of the month. The reason why is this monthly tick will give you the spy network on Shirvan, which will give you the ability to, continue forward with that a little bit faster. And just to point out, as I said, you'll get almost no money here, but you will get something. And then you pull them back. You can then send them again before the end of the month. This way, if Biapus does not have an ally, great. This is why I say that Biapus is not a great target. I'm going to just go ahead and let it run because realistically at this point, that's all there is to do. Here's the thing. Biapus can go without an ally, and there are some guides that show you attack them and they have no ally. The problem is that their allies can range from Dulkadir, which, is not really a threat, but can get military access usually to come and attack you. Qoyunlu, which can't, which means they're not going to be able to be pieced out, but they really don't pose a threat. And then you have these four guys. All four of these guys. The problem with them is that, well, you can't fight any of them. If you choose to try and fight, say, no guy here, sure, you might win that fight, but you're probably going to bankrupt yourself doing so, and that's going to compromise the rest of your run. As a result, if they get anyone such as no guy here, you need to wait until no guy will not defend them. A good example of when that happens is while Ajam can attack you, that's not really a danger. I'll again explain why just with Qara Qoyunlu. However, they can also attack Biapus. If they do, they will usually go and siege out Nogai or Uzbek or Great Horde or whoever it happens to be, leaving you to be able to attack Biapus yourself, and then hopefully get your land back. However, you have to remember, I know a lot of you are going to freak out about not getting your core back right away. Here's the thing. It's not really worth it. The reason why is if you look at this land, it's a 3-dev mountain province with fish. It's not really worth it. It's a core, and that's great, don't give it up, but at the same time, it is a 3-development fish mountain. That's not worth World War Arabia or World War Middle East. The other land, however, can be. The problem with that is if it is anybody that cannot get access, such as Qoyunlu, you're going to be stuck in a 10, 15-year war that you can't get out of. Same as Dulkadir, except with Dulkadir that you might be able to reach them to knock them out. Here is kind of the biggest issue, though. Simply put, if you cannot reach them, you can get your 3 development core pretty easily. You're not going to really knock out the other one without that long war, and the thing is the AI will prioritize targeting people if they're in a war where they're in equal numbers or that they can tip it over in their advantage with. So, Qara Qoyunlu, more likely to attack you if you're at war with Biapus and, for instance, Qoyunlu, because they think you're weaker. So be careful doing that. It might not be worth your time. On top of that, you'll take aggressive expansion with Qara Qoyunlu, which might slow down them being willing to ally you. So at this point, I'm now just waiting for about another 12 opinion, which should be in a couple of months, and hopefully Qara Qoyunlu does not attack me during that time. If Qara Qoyunlu or Ajam attack you, the AI is made to do this. Once you are a one-province minor, if, say, you are 5th Martian, and Denmark declares war on you, you can instantaneously end that war. What you do is you go into the war, and you simply go to offer tribute, and then suggest demands. Oh, here's a good example. Ajam just attacked me. That would normally be a big problem. However, here, I can simply go to suit for peace, offer tribute, suggest offer, and now, while they may want my land, oh, Qara Qoyunlu did the exact same thing. They both want my land. They have not taken my land. So long as they are not sieging it out, and you are a one-province minor, if you are two, this will not work. You can immediately end the war with 5 loans worth of money and war reparations. Now I just wait for the other one. Go to offer tribute, suggest offer, and there we go. I'm now no longer at war. Now, because they ended up declaring on me, this is going to slow things down a bit. However, again, as long as I get this over 100, it'll be fine. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording at this point, because this is going to take a lot longer. And I will bring you guys back once I hit 100, because I can't really expand until this happens. And just to point out, yes, this is Iron Man. So, it will work in your game. So, I'll see you guys when I'm there. So, brief note, just wanted to point out, yeah, Beapus got attacked by Ajam, so hopefully Ajam will end up going up here to knock out Nogai at some point while Beapus unsieges its land, leaving me able to take out Beapus instead of Ajam. So, I will pause the recording and I'll see you guys when I'm back to where I need to be. And welcome back. As you can see, I am now at 76 relations with them, even though they still have the was at war debuff, they still have the have a claim debuff, I'm still at 76. That's not 100, but it's close enough. The reason why is now I can go to Ajam, call them ugly, and that will make it 101. Now I simply wait for the monthly tick. And ta-da, they are now friendly, meaning that I can now ally the people that tried to annihilate me. So I wanted to point out, because I didn't point it out before, with that trick with the OPM, it will only work if they have not occupied your land. So don't let them occupy it first and hope that will make it work. If they occupy you, they're going to want it. Second, as far as the if you don't like this or you think this is an exploit, you can go ahead and believe that if you want. That's perfectly fine. And you don't want to do that, perfectly fine. Basically, Qara Qoyunlu has a couple of options. They can attack Samske, Georgia, Shirvan, or Ajam, or you. They're not really likely to attack anybody else. They might attack Mushasha. I've seen that before. As a result, you simply are basically riding on them attacking somebody else. If that happens, great. You don't need to do anything. But at this point, I have lost very, very little because while I am paying the war reparations, still positive income with my low army, so I don't have to worry about it. They will eventually royal marry me, pushing my relations up them high enough. Now, if you cannot get them to 100 for whatever reason, say their domineering attitude, so they won't get over 100 or however it ends up being, or it's simply you have too low of relations from something you did, an event or something else. This is effectively what you need to do. You still need to attack Shirvan. But while you're at war with them, before you peace out, you need to get a claim ready for Georgia. And what I mean is you have 20 spy network, and you are on the second to last day of a month. The reason why is you are then going to peace out of this war with Shirvan, and immediately get the claim on Georgia, wait the monthly tick, and then you're going to declare war on Georgia. The reason why is the moment you take any land, whether it's Beapus, Shirvan, anything,
If they are not allied to you, same with Ajam, they have a habit of warning you, which is this, which I went over before in the Qoyunlu guide, which means if you attack anybody they border, they will be called in too. So if it is Ajam, that is anybody along here, not really relevant, it's just Beapus and this guy you can't really reach. But if it's Qara Qoyunlu, that is your entire expansion path, which is up here in the north. These guys in the north, they are your expansion path. You are playing Long Ardabil. Not kidding. Shirvan here, they will usually ally Mazandran, which means you end up getting enough soldiers, and I'm going to go ahead and prepare for that. Oh, and make your general, or your ruler, into a general. The reason why is if you look... Sorry, misclicked. They will usually have more pips, your ruler. The thing is that your ruler starts off with morale. Meaning that if you use him as a general, he is more likely to have more pips than a normal general, given your army tradition. If you wish, you can hire this at the beginning of the game, you'll have a higher army tradition, not likely to cause a drastic difference. What I will say is, do make him a general. He's not a great ruler, not really, but on top of that, I have seen him be a 6-shock general. As such, he could be very, very, very useful for you to actually be in this war. But with that, I'm effectively ready to go. I need some loans in order to build up my army. This is why I wait, because there's no reason to be paying loans or interest until now. It's not a whole lot of money, but it's money. And there we go. I'm probably going to go into another loan so I can get the free company, and I'll have enough to actually siege down the fort and the fort, letting me win these wars. I will say that Shirvan also has a habit of getting another ally. This is actually kind of rare, but they can ally Musashi. If Musashi has no other real ally, in this case, it is just Najran here. Yeah, not really a threat. A fort, but not really a big problem. You can go ahead and co-belligerate him. The reason why is if you do, you can then vassalize him. Meaning you're able to get a vassal down here, a vassal here, and all this land yourself, which then lets you expand over here. The reason why I say a vassal here is even if you did take Beapus, even if you take Shirvan and then go over, you cannot, this is not a connection. You cannot connect through the Caspian Sea. It looks like a sea, it's supposed to act like a sea, you can't build ships in it, and it doesn't allow you to have coring distance over it. Not from what I've seen. So don't expect it, just vassalize them, improve relations, and get them that way. This is also why, again, you leave this slot open. Because if you can get strong duchies, get strong duchies. It's an amazing thing. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording, and I'm going to show you what I mean at the end of my expansion. So I'll see you guys then. And welcome back. So, been a couple decades, and I am now not Ardabil, I'm Ardalong. As you can see, I'm pretty much a giant snake, giving me not a massive amount of force limit, but enough. And I embraced the Georgian culture, which helps me keep them in line, but also, realistically, they're not in the same culture group. As a result, I get a lot more money and force limit by having this culture accepted. But realistically, this is what it means. I have Ajam as a vassal, and I'll explain a little bit more on that later. Qara Qoyunlu is still an ally. Timurids ended up fighting off all their vassals and is now one of the power players in the world. Mamluks beat the Ottomans, so yeah, cursed timeline. But here's the thing. Eventually I'll have an expansion path, and what you basically do is you either take out Qoyunlu once the Ottomans aren't happy with them, or you take out Qara Qoyunlu, or you take Timurids out when they're in a bigger war. You can ally with whoever you want. Your game's going to be different. At this point, it will be different because these alliances and this might be different in your games. I trust you guys to figure it out. But I wanted to point something out when it came to Ajam. Usually what will happen when you do this is Ajam gets wrecked. As you can see, they're kinda small. Here's the thing, Ajam is my vassal. I did not vassalize them, however, in a war, as you can tell. What I ended up doing is, when the last war, I made them cancel their cores on the land I already held and cored, and then full annex them, and then release them. This means that they will keep their cores on everybody else, but not on me. Meaning that now I can feed them back their land, and they won't have the "you have my core" nonsense going on. Just wanted to point out that this is something you guys should be doing that I see a lot of people don't do. Instead, they'll annex the land and just ignore the extra cores they could be getting because they don't want to release up here, when they had war score they could have taken to make them give up these cores. Meaning they could have just released them anyway and done both. So keep an eye out for things like that, because revoking cores is actually a very, very useful thing to use when it comes to vassals and you're vassalizing them. Gilsan ended up being a good ally until recently, or Gilan. They got mad at me because I kind of surrounded them. But yeah, this is basically what you're aiming for, because it will give you enough raw power behind you to be able to take on Great Horde, or Nogai. Not quite the Timurids at this point, because Timurids is a lot larger than they should be. But even somebody like the Ottomans, I'm not that far behind, and the AI, unlike humans, does not know how to death war. So take advantage of things like that, and find your areas of opportunity to finally finish Persia by getting a strong enough power base, in this case for me, to take out the Timurids. So this is the basics of how you form Persia using Ardabil. You find an attack dog, Qara Qoyunlu, that will help you take out the bigger guy in the area that you can't take out yet, but he can, and use him to punch your enemy. He also used him as a guard dog to prevent other people from attacking you as much as humanly possible. And you simply find attacks of opportunity where you can. But I'm going to go ahead and leave this guide here. I have other guides to make to catch up to what my schedule should have been. So I'm going to talk to you guys later. Again, join the Discord. You can tell me what you guys want me to do, or multiplayer games, or whatever else y'all want to do. But if you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. I will be doing more of it, I guarantee that. However, if you want to see anything in particular, leave it in the comment below. I appreciate it. It lets me know what you guys want me to do, and it makes my schedule a little bit easier to know what you guys want to see first. I also do mechanics guides, so if there's a mechanic that's bothering you, put it down below. I have no problem explaining how this game is really working behind the scenes in a slower, more methodical way. But thank you all for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful day.